I'm Mark Wein for Jack's Guitar Tracks, and this is our lesson on shell chord voicings. Shell chords are chord voicings that you play on guitar or piano that use the fewest number of notes to get the basic structure or the harmony of the chord into your ears. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing the thirds and the sevenths of each of these chords along with the root. This gives us the core of the sound, whether it's major, minor, dominant. Even when we're dealing with the minor 7 versus half diminished 7 chords, what you're getting is just 3 notes that will actually allow you to play the chord sound and let the other instruments in the ensemble kind of flesh things out. This lesson is divided up into 2 major sections. What we have is what we call the whiteboard session, where I'm basically writing all the lesson out while I'm giving you the information about it. And that's where we're going to basically be talking about the theory of these chords and how this stuff works. The second half, I'm actually going to be playing this stuff on the guitar with chord diagrams, and we're going to talk about the physical voicings themselves with roots on the 6th and the 5th string. This video really doesn't have a section on playing examples for you, other than the fact at the end we're going to talk a little bit about using these chords for a B-flat blues, like a swing blues, and 2-5-1 chord progressions. And there's actually videos linked below in the video description that will actually allow you to practice this stuff without actually having a song to worry about. If you like this video and would like to support the channel and help us make more videos, we've got links to all kinds of things down in the video description below. We do all kinds of stuff on this channel. We've got backing tracks for you to practice over. We've got lessons for you to learn from. We also occasionally do gear giveaways. So if you sign up for the mailing list and subscribe, you'll have notification as to when we do that. Last month we did a Rowan slow hand pedal. This month we're going to be doing a J-Rocket the Dude overdrive, which is actually one of my personal favorite overdrive pedals. So please subscribe, hit like, and let's do this lesson. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run through the basic theory behind this stuff. And we're going to do this in the key of C just to make life easy. I know a lot of you guys who are watching this video might not read music, and that's okay. You don't really need to. Just to kind of clarify what we're doing here, we're doing this in a treble clef. There's my horrible writing. We're not worrying about time signatures. All we're really worried about are notes. Now, if I was to start on C, and that's this guy right here, and I'm just going to write the scale, major scale, going up 1 note at a time from C to C. And I'll actually C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again. I'm going to write a number under each one of these guys. I'll do this in purple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 is the octave. We're back to C. If you've done any of my lessons before, you know that the notes of a major chord are the 1st, 3rd, and 5th notes of a major scale. So in this setting here, all right, what we have is root, 3rd, and 5th. All right, and that makes up a C major chord. If I wanted to make it minor, I just lower the 3rd, C, E flat, and G. If I want to make it, all right, and that's minor. All right, diminished. Sorry about the writing. We lower the 3rd note and the 5th note. And if we wanted to make this augmented, put A, U, G here, it'd be root, major 3rd, and then we would raise the 5th note. And those are all the different kinds of triads or 3-note chords you're going to have. But we don't typically use these when we're playing jazz quite as much as we do 7th chords and chords with extensions like 9ths and 11ths and 13ths. The next note in this that we're going to be really concerned about is the 7th. Now the 4 notes that we have here, these make up a C major 7 chord. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different kinds of 7th chords, because understanding this is kind of important if you're actually going to play these kinds of chords. So we're going to just kind of go through how we change those 4 notes to get the different kinds of chords that we would need to play jazz. So C, E, G, and B. That is a C major 7. Those are all the notes that are in the major scale. Now if we want a C7 chord or a C dominant 7, all we have to do is we lower the 7th. All right, and this gives us the C dominant 7. Maybe let's make a note up here as to what we're doing here. Root 3, 5, and 7. The next chord we're going to do is C minor 7. It also looks like CM7 or CMI7. Those notes are going to be C, and then remember with the minor chord we lower the E, so it's going to be E flat, G, and then it's also going to have a B flat. Those are going to be the notes that make up your minor 7. For a lot of what you're going to play, these are going to be the notes that we're actually concerned with. But there are other chords that we also need to be also dealing with. One chord is C minor 7 flat 5. And this chord is also called half diminished. All right, and also sometimes it'll say like C and it'll have like a circle with a line through it. Those are all the same thing here. I'm going to take a moment just to divide these up. So C major 7, C dominant 7, it's your minor 7, and we're here. Now, with the C minor 7, we start off with a C minor 7, and then we're going to lower the 5th too. So in a way, a C minor 7 flat 5, these first 3 notes are also a C diminished chord. We'll find out later in the next chord that the main difference between a half diminished and a whole diminished is what's going to happen to the 7th. We have C with a circle. We have C diminished. It can look like that. It can be just C diminished. All right, and the notes for this one, C, E flat, G flat, but we're going to lower the 7th one more time. It's actually going to be the 6th. So you can look at it either B double flat, or the easiest way to look at it is the 6th. We can say that's an A. One other family of chords we're going to work with here, we're going to have the C6 chord, all right, which is going to be the major triad, C, E, G, and then the A. We have C minor 6th. That can be C, E flat, G, so it's a minor triad, and then the 6th. And then the last one we're really going to be concerned with, we're going to do a C minor with a major 7. All right, which is it's a minor chord but with a major 7th, and you're going to hear that occasionally. It's not as common, but we should know what that is. So we have C, E flat for the minor, G, and then B natural. Now, as I go back through all of these chords, the notes that are important are going to be the thirds, and the 7ths. The 2 notes that are important for a major 7 are the 3rd and the 7th. That's going to be E natural and B. If it's a C7, it's going to be E and B flat, which also is a tritone, which we're not going to cover too much in here other than the fact that this is the only kind of chord that's going to have a tritone in it. If it's going to be a minor, it's going to be E flat and B flat. It's going to be a minor 7 flat 5. Hey, we're not worried about the 5s because of these shell chord voicings. We're only doing root 3 and 7. So that one's also going to be E flat and B flat. And then the diminished chord. This one I almost would never consider this a shell voicing, but if you wanted to, I guess E flat and A. When we get into the 6 chords, E and A, minor 6 is going to be E flat and A, and minor major 7 is going to be E flat and B. So I've done all of this, but one other way to look at this, if we're not looking at just a C chord, is this idea that this is the 3rd and the 7. Those are majors. This is the third, major third and minor 7. This is minor third and minor 7. This is also minor third and minor 7. This is minor third and 6. This is the major third and major 6. This is minor third and 6. And this guy is minor third and 7. Now we're going to go over this with the guitar. So this is the first time we're doing this, and the second time I'm going to show you how this actually looks on the guitar with other graphics. So it'll make a little bit more sense then too. But all we're really doing is we're trying to understand the fact that these shell chord voicings are basically the third and the sevenths, and then we're going to play the root. If you needed to play something that was really small, you could leave out the root too, because probably someone else in the band, the bass player or some other instrument, is also going to be playing the root. So if you really just want to trace out the harmony, play the third and the sevenths. If you're soloing, it's good to know the thirds and the sevenths as your target or guide tones through the chord changes if it's something that you can't just play one scale through when you're improvising. What you're going to see later on is that when we add ninths and 13ths and 11ths and things like that, these chord voicings are great because these don't have any of those extended notes. So because what's going on here, and you see an example of it here with the minor 7 and the minor 7 flat 5, here is that these two chords, they have the same third and seventh. The note that's different, all right, it's the 5 right here. And because we're just not playing that note, we don't have to worry about it. So these are safe. These are very safe chord voicings. We're going to start off with the chords that have a root on the 6th string. All right, we're going to do these in B flat because we're playing jazz, so why not? It doesn't hurt if you know your B flat major scale in this position. As my students learn these scales, one of the things that we do is we try and make sure that you understand what each note is relative to the root, and that helps us with our chord construction later on, as well as our improvisation. In B flat major, root, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. We also have a 2 there and a 7 down there, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. The very first chord voicing isn't really a shell voicing per se, because it's only going to have the root and the third in it. All right, we have the root, we have the octave root, and then we have the third right there. The major 7 chord, root, major 7, and third. And what you're going to see is that we're going to have this line that just kind of descends as we kind of work our way through these chords. Here's the major one again. Here's the major 7. If we want to make it a dominant 7, remember that this 7 just goes down a half step and we keep the major third. And then the 6th is this guy right here. That's the A, and we still have the major third. If we were to go up that scale, root, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, here's our 7, here's the root. And then if we need the minor 7 for the dominant chord, it's right there. If you skipped over the music theory part of this in the whiteboard session and this is confusing to you, you may want to go back. That would actually help you understand what we're doing a little bit better if you don't already have this material under your fingers. So we'll go through the minor versions of this. Remember that we're just lowering the third down a half step to make these minor. So here's just the minor chord, which is root, octave, and then minor third. Minor major 7, right? So that's major 7 here out of the scale, and then there's the minor third. Here's just B flat minor 7, B flat minor 6. This also kind of looks a lot like B flat diminished if we add the note on the 2nd string 5th fret. Remember in the whiteboard section I said that some of these chords are going to be the same even though they're going to have different names because we're not playing the notes that make them different. If I wanted to, I could play B flat 7, and there's the 5th on top. I can make it B flat 7 sharp 5. I can make it B flat 7 flat 5, right? Just by these notes that are here. Now if the rest of the band's playing that, any of those chords, and I just play this, I'm cool. It doesn't matter that I'm not playing the exact same chord as the rest of the group, because I'm not playing any notes that conflict with their alterations. We're going to do a full lesson on this later on, but I just kind of keep an eye on those kinds of ideas. I also mentioned we have B flat minor 7, and here it is, the full minor 7 with the 5th, and then B flat minor 7 flat 5, where I lowered the 5 down 1 fret, and then I still have the minor 3rd and the minor 7. If I wanted to make this a fully diminished chord, I would take that 7 and lower it to the 6th. Then I've got root, 6, minor 3rd, and then the diminished or flat 5. The chords with the roots on the 5th string are going to look a little bit like this. Now, when I learned these originally, I learned these kinds of voicings not as shell chord voicings per se, but as Freddie Green chords is what we call them. Kind of the Count Basie orchestra kind of thing. And a lot of the chords with the root on the 5th string, we never played that root. We would just play the 5th on the 6th string, just to kind of keep the sound going. All right, when you're playing big band music on an archtop guitar, you've got the guitar turned off or unamplified, and you're playing real solid on it, and you want the biggest sound you can get, and that kind of gets it for you. And remember that there's always somebody playing the root somewhere in the mix, so if you don't play the root, you're okay. With these chord voicings, we're actually going to do them more in the traditional sense. If I wanted to play just major, I've got root, major 3rd, and there's the octave. So it's similar to when I did the B flat major, but this is the E flat major. If I want to make it major 7, I take that octave, I lower it a half step, so now I've got the major 7. Remember that if we're doing the Cage system major scale right here, the B flat was off of the E shape. The E flat is going to be off of the A shape. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Root 7, 6, 5. If that reference is a little confusing, and you'd like to know more about Cage system root patterns and scales, there are lessons linked below this in the video description below. So we've got E flat major, and then this is the 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It just so happens that the first octave of both of these scales physically are the same. So it might look a little similar, except for in the B flat we're doing the 3rd up an octave to make this sound better. In this one, we've got the 3rd in between. So you got root, there's E flat major 7, so root, major 3rd, major 7. There's E flat dominant 7, root, major 3rd, minor 7, E flat 6. If we want to do these as minors, right, I could just take the 3rd and lower it a step. So root, minor 3rd, an octave. Minor, major 7, minor 7, minor 6. In this 3rd and final part of the video, we're going to do a little bit of playing. Now, this video doesn't have a ton of playing. It's more about learning how these chords work and how to find them on the fretboard. But I want to give you 2 opportunities to use these in real time with a backing track. This is the quickest way to internalize this stuff and make it actually useful for you when you're playing music. The first video is just a series of 2-5-1 chord progressions in all 12 keys. It's actually one of the default out of iRealB, the music player. I just made a video out of it so it'd be easier for those of you who don't have the app. If you do want to get iRealB, I'll put a link there. I don't get a commission from it or anything like that, but it's actually a really cool thing to practice with. So we have 2 basic ways that we can do a 2-5-1 and have them kind of in the same part of the fretboard. If you wanted to, I mean, theoretically, you could do it all with the root on the 6th string, D minor, G7, C major 7. But that doesn't really sound that great, and it's just too much movement. It's kind of weird. So what we try and do is we try and do this with the 2 chord. So the first way that we're going to do this is we're going to play the 2 chord with the root on the 6th string. So you have D minor 7 here with the root on the 10th fret. There's the 5 chord, which is the G7 in the key of C. And then there is C major 7 back with the root on the 6th string. What you'll find is as you go through these, this physical pattern repeats all over the fretboard, and you've probably seen this with scales and other other things on the instrument. If we want to do it the other version, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do root on the 5th string for the D minor 7. G7 is going to be root on the 6th string, and then C7 or C major 7 is going to be root on the 5th string. My suggestion for practicing that is do one time all the way through doing just the first variation, and then do one time through doing the second variation. Get used to playing those physically, and then mix and match it a little bit. Try and move things around and just get used to finding things on the fly. The second example is just a B-flat blues with a swing feel. So it gives us something that's not 2-5-1 patterns to kind of work our way through. The first chord in this is going to be B-flat dominant 7. We have root on the 6th string. So that's the 1 chord. If you know your 12-bar blues chord progressions. We also have a 4 chord, which is E-flat dominant 7. So root on the 5th string here. There's the B-flat again. And then we're going to go 2-5 because this is jazz blues. So you can do C minor 7 here. You can either do it with all fingers or you can bar your 3rd finger. Then we've got the 5 chord, which is going to be F7. And then back to B-flat 7 right there. Now, if I was doing this kind of boring, gets the job done. If I was really going to comp over a blues, we'll talk about comping like that in a later lesson, but you have different things that you can do. And one of them is if you want to stay out of the way, I would use the shell chord voicings. If I want to do something that's a little busy, or if I'm trying to push the singer, then I've got these other options, and we'll talk about those chords, like I said, later on. So remember, linked in the video description below this video, we have the PDF, which has all the materials you need for this lesson. We've got links to the backing track videos, and we've got links to other lessons that will help you with this if any of this material is kind of new to you. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and all that happy stuff. We'll see you next time.